Fort Worth, Texas. Haven't said that before. Gonna let people get in here for a few minutes. I'm not going to spend too long on this slate. I'm going to post all my exposures. We're getting away. We're going to start getting into, I think, more premium content videos and just focus more on our subscribers. But we do really appreciate you all. So if you don't mind just hitting a like and giving a thumbs up on the video, we appreciate it. But yeah, I'm going to try and share my screen. I'm working from my laptop, so this is going to be a little bit interesting. It's not as much fun. It's not like I love my laptop, but I like small laptops, and it's kind of hard to really play DFS as effectively. So I'm a little nervous about it, but anyway, we'll get into it. I'm gonna share my screen, talk about my attitude towards this game. One, first of all, I'm shocked the spread isn't higher. I really thought this would be like a 15-point spread, like something crazy. But maybe Vegas is thinking the same way I do, because I actually thought this game will stay a little bit closer than what I thought the spread would be. However, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like it's one of those that literally 35-0 is like on the table. But I have a feeling, and these Raiders and Denver games, they stay close more often than you think they will. That's my take. Anyway, don't look at my exposures now. Don't mean much because I haven't done all my building, but I did make some tweaks. And you can see there's, wait till Goldie does his update. It'll make it'll be a lot closer here. But one thing I wanted to do is I want the RJ Harvey. I want the RJ Harvey as my favorite Denver captain. I don't mind the Broncos. Again, forget the numbers. I did drop. SaberSim's projection is so strong on them. This is it's pretty rare you have defenses, which, again, this is not the real actual projection. The actual projection is what they have met. Anytime you see a double-digit defense, I'm just a little bit wary that there's ways that it could go wrong. But look, it makes sense to have their defense as a captain and as one of the options. But those are probably my two favorite options as captains for Denver. I don't mind, obviously. Look, it's going to be a pretty chalky play, so I'm not going to get to it as much. Yeah, I just don't want to do the Bo Nix thing on this slate. I feel like it's going to be a weird game. These Thursday night games, you guys know what I like. I like backup running backs, backup tight ends, that kind of thing. But the Raiders, you can just do everything on them. So I'm really even wondering to myself, why am I pretending like this is going to be close? Except for, from a DFS perspective, you can see this ownership is really low on these captains. Bowers is going to get some love. Genty will get some love. And again, these exposures mean nothing. I'm going to rebuild in a second with some of the tweaks I made. I think Geno is an interesting play just coming from behind. So I'm going to be over on Geno. I'm going to be over on basically all of the Raiders as captains. I don't mind the speculating on Tyler Lockett. I actually think I'm going to take a shot and just throw 1% on Jack Beck. I sort of bumped up all these Raiders a little bit, and it wouldn't shock me if it was Dante Thornton. I just don't think we need to go that far down, because I really do think you can get different by just sort of focusing more on the Raider captains. You can see I changed the projection for a lot of these Raiders to try to get myself more of this exposure. I don't love even this Raider projection for defense is a little higher than I would have thought. I thought it should be like closer to 6. I'm not going to really mess with it, though, because I like the idea of the Raider builds to get different on this slate. That's where I'm at. Doesn't mean it's the only way to play. It is how I'm going to play this. And I also am going to have some exposure. So with the tweaks I made with the Harvey, who I really feel like is becoming the main running back over there, I still like Dobbins, but I really like Harvey. I'm really, really in on this play. And you can see I bumped his projection even higher than people have them. I think it should be closer to where I have it, which is not 16. That's in the captain, obviously. So you guys do the math, 10.67. Okay. And I actually think the kickers are in play. I think the under's very much in play in this game, which I just don't know what to expect. Like, I really was like blown away when I saw the spread. I really thought it was going to be like 15, 16. I wonder how many people are using Denver for Survivor. I mean, it's got to be, if anybody's got them, this is the spot. But like, I just have a feeling the Raiders keep this game close. And look, I could be completely wrong. I'll have some outs if I am wrong. But I'm sort of going that this game stays at least somewhat competitive. All right, so I'm going to rebuild now with the little tweaks that I've made. We talked about it, focusing a little more on Raiders. I also thought I was going to change the score, but I'm not going to, I don't believe. Just because it's still reasonable at 10. Like, that's still, you could have a close game and ended up at 10. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I did drop the minimum salary. I think you could argue for even dropping it a little bit lower. In fact, I think I'm going to. because I'm making some tweaks on the projections. I'm making some min to max stuff, but mostly I really just don't think you necessarily need all your salary tonight. And I really think that you could see a lineup with like 7K on the table, potentially winning. These Thursday night games are the ones where I like to drop it the most. So that's just something as a general strategy that I think is worth considering. Anyway. All right, let's see what I just got a message here. I'm just making sure there's nothing for this. We're going to wait while this thing builds. I will take this. And we'll see what we got. And remember, I just want to point everybody out, I still use the Classic, so you guys can see that I'm on SaberSim Classic here, with TrueDFS/SaberSim Classic. And I'm going to run the Sims here and see what kind of things we're getting, because I got a feeling I'm going to be a little bit unique tonight, and I really am okay with leaving some of that money on the table. The one thing I didn't want to do was end up with like 50% Broncos defense and captain, or 50% like what's his name, Bo Nix. I just feel like it's too strong of a stance to take given this slate. On fairly chalk. I do think that the Broncos defense is going to end up even more popular than they're being projected. I think they're going to be extremely popular, even as a captain. I think there's a lot of perception out there. And look, it makes sense. It's not even like it's wrong, but there is a value in just being different. And look, some nights I might only cash like, whatever, I've got 1,900 out there. What if I cash for $100 and I lose? Okay, no problem. I lose. However, if I'm able to get different and make my stances correct, I think that I've actually got something going. I'm just going to do it again every now and then. I'm just, again, this is not what it's going to be. Watch what happens when I save the contest. And this is why I encourage everybody to double click, especially if you're still using the Classic like I am. You'll see in a second the difference in ownership. So once you get the contest, you're going to want to save them, but then you're going to want to save them again. At least, again, this is something you really got to keep an eye on, because you'll end up with some funky ass stuff if you don't do it. All right. And we're having a little company meeting. Anybody ever wants to shoot out some thoughts of ideas for what we could do to better help you guys? I'm always all ears. So you can see it's getting all this, but watch, it's going to drop in a second. A lot. Give it a sec. There. I don't know why I'm getting so much of the Genti. I don't love taking, for whatever reason, I'm a little lower on the Genti. I even lowered his projection, and I'm still getting him as my highest owned captain. But you can still see a lot over on the Raiders players in general. There's pretty much no Raider that is of any relevance that I'm not getting more than the field. And that is something I want. I'm also under the field on Bo Nix, which I want. I'm well over on RJ Harvey as a captain. Let's see where we end up in the flex on Harvey. My highest owned flex. Look, I'm taking that stand. I'm going to ride this kid all the way. I really like him. I think he's super talented. I also think it does give you some outs if it is a blowout. He might end up just getting all the carries in the third quarter and on. We saw what happened with the Chiefs. It's totally on the table. This game just goes completely bonkers either way. So I feel like I'm giving myself a chance on both sides of it. The one thing I might change is I just don't feel as great about this Genti ownership. Look, not the same, not that he can't be a pass catcher, but I've always said about Geno teams, he looks downfield. He's not sitting there trying to dump the ball off a million times. Now, still, we saw Genti's he's had, the 5 reception games and all that. He's had some decent games. It's very reasonable, but I'm not looking for reasonable. I'm looking for let's get wild and win 300,000 solo. So I think I'm going to end up dropping Genti down. For now, I'm going to save this. And again, I pointed out how, so I have to save it again because it's going to give me the wrong one. And that's what I'm going to do. So that's sort of like a little bit just what I'm doing tonight. Again, I do think that for most people who maybe don't want to, maybe aren't as experienced as some of us at doing these things, I think it's probably worth it to trust most of the SaberSim stuff and then wait for Goldie's projection update, which should be in about an hour-ish, I want to say. And we'll get the injury reports, and as Sheets will say, we'll rock the house. Any questions or anything anybody wants to go through, I'm happy to talk through it. I am going to sit here and just let that, out there. I'm happy to talk about anything. I am not playing the NBA one-game slate tonight. I don't know. I'm on a 2 different. I'm not used to this later stuff. I feel for Sheets. You kind of lose your whole night, and I think that's I'm not used to I'm used to being on the West Coast where, all right, worst case, I have to stay at my computer till 7:30. Now it's like, all right, at 9:30, and my girlfriend comes back from work, and I haven't seen her in a month and a half plus. It's like, okay, I'd like to see her, so that's where I'm at a little bit. But again, anybody with anybody who's a site member, hit us up in the premium Discord and let us know any thoughts you have of things that you want to see us doing that are different than what we're doing right now. We try to be the most transparent site out there. We tell you exactly what we're doing every day. We share our exposures in the Discord chat. The Discord chat for us is really where we do a lot of our content, and I really hope you guys are getting, finding it useful. It also, look, it's hard to win these things. I try to remind everybody. I take an approach with showdowns, especially, or really small NBA slates. Okay, I'm okay with just getting creamed. That's fine with me. I don't mind at all. I actually welcome it. But I really want to take my weird chances and be different. And that's, in my opinion, that's the way you play showdowns. I had a chance at the 500K a couple weeks ago. I was in second place with 6 minutes remaining, solo second. So you can get different in these things, and that's what I'm hoping for. And again, it doesn't matter where that finished. I think I ended up finishing 70th or something, or 80th. I don't think I even made money on the night. I might have broken even. But if you can give yourself those unique lines and those chances by making some of those tweaks that we talked about, I think it's really valuable. Again, I like the salary. I think you could make a case here too. If you want to do something a little bit different, cap your salary at 49.6. Make that a thing. I'm not doing that myself because I am getting enough different by my little manual changes that I did. But that I think is really viable. In fact, I would go so far to say if you're just playing the lottery tonight, or if you're just playing the $5 flea flicker or something like that, I think it's actually a very reasonable thing to just go 49K max on the salary. I totally think it makes sense, and that's where I'm at. Curious question. All right, Nate. I know you're an MME guy, but would you switch builds with Saber for 150 and do single entry with the other build? I don't really understand the question, but I'll try to answer it as best I do understand. So, no, I'm not just an MME guy. I hand build basically all of my big buy-ins. I will hand build my big buy-in tonight. Not all of them, but most all of them. If I've got if it's a day where there's a 333 and first place is $1 million, yeah, I might play 10 of them. I can't not probably hand building and hand editing all those, but I am overlooking it and making sure they're okay. So, but with single entry, SaberSim is factoring that in for you. It's really important that you know that SaberSim is going to give you the single entry lineups that make more sense from SaberSim. I also don't play around with the other things as much. I'm a no ball guy a little bit. You know what I mean? I want to put my take on things, and I want to win that way. I also want to use what SaberSim has to offer. So I don't mess with the min uniques anymore, hardly ever. If it's a slate that I'm not as familiar with, if I was playing I don't know, a different sport that I'm not used to, NASCAR and NHL, maybe I would, because I don't have a no ball take about those things. But I'm trying to put my imprint on the slate my way. So yeah, if it's a high buy-in single entry, I'll probably hand build it. If it's not a high buy-in single entry, I'm going to trust SaberSim to do what I say, and they're gonna put it in the right spot. Does that make sense to you, Nate? Let me know. Happy to answer it. I'm still waiting. I have to go pick something up in a minute. We'll see. And yeah, I think that's, I'm going to see if Nate has any answer or anybody else has any other questions, and then I'm probably going to get out of here. Good to see y'all. I was gone for a day. It felt like a long day. It's weird, traveling. It's not that far. You know what I mean? I'm used to traveling. I traveled, whatever. I was on 16 hours flying time this summer. But just flying out here, I just felt I really felt like it took 2 days. No, of course, Nate, happy to help out any way I can. Please give us a like and do subscribe. And also check out our packages. Again, I think we have the most unique offering in the industry. But I think it's really worth checking out. And we've obviously had a lot of winners since Brandon has crushed it. He had a bad week last week, whatever, it happens. But he's had a monster season. Sheets is just always a monster. And I've had a great year, even though I would say I've tailed a little bit since the summer. I don't think it's been my best results. Also, all would have been wiped away with 1.5 points in an NBA slate that should never have got to where it got to, and it cost me an extra 70,000, and then I'd be crushing it since for the last 6 weeks. So it's a very fine line. I also want to encourage everybody something else, especially if you're a site member. I want everybody to stop being results oriented. It really overly results oriented. If it's been forever and you're losing over every slate, maybe there's something to what you're thinking. But in general, Sheets talks about it all the time. Process, process, process. That's what you're focused on. That's the way you play. It doesn't matter the results that day. If you're a great player, I say this about DFS all the time. It's very similar to poker to me. If you find yourself min cashing a bunch of poker tournaments and never making final tables, you're probably playing badly, at least suboptimally. Maybe that's a better way to put it. But I really don't think that you want to be doing that with DFS too. I want you to take big gambles. I want you to really try to win slates and be totally fine losing them. That's my advice. SaberSim will do that for you too. You see some of the stacks. You go to baseball. You'll see the team with the lowest total get stacked in half your lineups a lot of the time. And by the way, it doesn't have to hit that often. It's still going to be a profitable long term. I say a lot of things all the time. If you just use the SaberSim product, you are automatically, I really believe, let's just say you played every sport, you're just using SaberSim, just late swapping, not ever making a mistake, not touching anything, I think you're a profitable player. If you're doing it with Goldie and Sheets' projections and you're doing it adequately, the correct way, I think it gives you even a higher upside to differentiate yourself from not only just other SaberSim users, but from the whole industry. So those are my takes. That's what I'm, wanted to get across to you guys tonight. I appreciate everybody who's shown us so much support throughout the time we've been doing this. We are going to focus more on premium shows. It's part of our meeting thing tonight. We're going to focus more on our customers. So if you do want to be, if you enjoy these videos, again, we appreciate the like, but we'd love for you to check out what some of the products we have to offer. I think it's really, really cool. And you get everything exactly what I'm doing every day. Rhodey's playbook every week for NFL. He does it for MLB as well. He does a lot of great stuff for us. He's always in the chat, mixed it up, a lot of good minds in the Discord. Sheets, obviously, with his projections, Goldie with his projections, all the stuff we have. Brandon Cruz has been amazing, and he also is posting his exposure. So I hope you guys give it a look, and we will see you guys hopefully at the top of the leaderboards if I don't win myself. I'd rather win it myself, I'm going to be honest, but if not, I hope it's one of you guys. So good luck to y'all.